Tucker Carlson, the legend, completely stumps a woke doctor.
You can decide whether or not you want to be a boy or girl or non-binary.
Yeah, but you can't actually decide. And I'm for choice, and there are a lot of biological realities that I'm sad about, that I would change about no, I'm sincere, that I would change about myself. And so I'm not attacking anybody, but don't you think that biological reality matters, and lying to kids and telling them, you know, actually you could be 6'7", or you could have blue eyes instead of brown, or whatever. I mean, those are lies, and it's never a good idea to lie to kids, is it?
I don't think it's a lie. I think it's actually giving children more information at a younger age than we traditionally have, right? So it's like, I'm going to give a comparison. It's like raising a child to not assume that they're heterosexual, right? The way I've raised my children is to say, like, I don't know what they're going to be, and I'm not just going to assume that they're gay or they're straight. I just give them lots of information, expose them to lots of people.
There's a difference here, because whereas, you know, we don't know a lot about the biology of homosexuality, we know a lot about the biology of sex, because we know that it begins in the chromosomal level. Like, there's a science piece to this that's being ignored by people who I thought believed in science. So that's why I'm a little bit confused.
I don't think it's being ignored. I think what we're seeing, though, in the federal study and what's come out in terms of the Census Bureau is that if 1.4 million people don't identify with the gender marker that they were given at birth, we have to take note of that and say what's going on, that there's a fluidity about gender, and it's not necessarily rooted in biology.
Why does that not extend to race?
Tell me what you mean by that. You're going to have to explain that one to me.
If I can say I'm a woman, why can't I say I'm a Chinese woman and be taken every bit as seriously? And I'm not mocking you. I'm making a sincere point, and it's a sincere question. What's the difference?
You know, I think it's a great question. I mean, I think as we progress as a society, some of these labels that we're putting on things, and I can't necessarily go to the race question, although one of the things that I've loved about your program as of late is that you're really into this idea of having a more inclusive society and being less separatist in terms of race, that we should be more inclusive. And I think that that's what we're saying. We're creating a space at the table for people to be, to have optionality in terms of how they want to identify themselves. Okay.
Well, as long as we're still science-based, then, you know, as a childly enlightenment,
it's not taking science off the table. It's just saying, can we look at it from another perspective?
Okay.
You know what's so sad right now about what's going on in this country is that kids, especially, that want to gender transition, I blame it all on TikTok and liberal teachers and the brainwashing that's basically destroying America. They've started to think that this is trendy. And Tucker touches on these biological realities. There are biological realities that the left refuses to acknowledge. And people like Charlie Kirk have talked about this time and time again. We are ruining the lives of children who will never have proper sexual function. They are cutting off their sex organs. They will never be able to experience sexual pleasure, let alone having children and a family. And if you think this is an accident, it's not. This is completely intentional. If you would have put someone in like a time capsule and took them out, you know, 10 years later, which is right now, and said, people think they can be any gender they want, they would have been like, you're completely crazy. And Tucker touches on a really good point here. He was like, then why can't I be a different race? I identify as African American. Well, you can't. Why? Because that's your biology. XX, XY chromosomes. You are born with these. You cannot change these things. Men cannot have babies. Men cannot breastfeed. Women who breastfeed are not chest feeders. Okay? You have a uterus if you are a woman. You do not have a uterus if you are a man. These are very simple scientific facts. But now we even have medical organizations, journals, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, hospitals performing these surgeries and prescribing these medicines. They're either woke, sick, or in it for the money. And anyone that's in it for the money, just realize what you are doing to those who are under 18. You're ruining their lives. You're not going to let a 9-year-old drive a car, get a tattoo, or smoke a cigarette. Then why would you let them change their gender? You wouldn't.